In this week's episode, we talk about praying over our profits, juggling debt as a startup, and we deal with the notion of fake it till you make it. Hey, and welcome to episode 43 of Business Greenhouse TV. You know, the last few weeks have been pretty manic around here. We've done events in Sydney, Perth, just got back from the Gold Coast, working 3 whole days there with our team, and then tomorrow, Melbourne, 3 days with our clients down there. And so it's been a hectic month, but it's been great just to get in with our clients and just to get in there and build those foundations for a massive year ahead. So yeah, big month of travel, but I'm enjoying being back in the saddle every Monday, getting these out for you and answering your questions. So if you've got a question, by the way, then I would love to answer it on the future episodes. Just literally in the comments below, just type in a question and I'll get that, I'll get the alert and I'll answer it on the future episode and give you a shout out when I do. Let's get into today's show.
Kez Sutherland Tyria asks, when forecasting profits for ourselves, should we be basing them on what we think we can probably achieve, i.e. the natural, and be praying for the super to exceed the forecast? Or should we be stretching forecasting beyond what we think we can achieve in the natural, accounting for the super?
Kez, this is a phenomenal question, and I like the way you've asked it between natural and super. That's our language, hence the book Supernatural Business. But for those of you that didn't really quite catch it, you know, it's essentially this. You know, there's a certain level of things we can do in the natural, and then there's the super, the God bit that He can add on top, and we put it together. We're walking in supernatural. You know, this is like the big dilemma for the kingdom entrepreneur, for the Christian in business. You know, is it all carnal? Are we just in the business world doing our thing, you know, and then when we make a profit, you know, use it for the Lord? Or is there, you know, a really spiritual edge to it where the Lord's going to multiply everything? And so, you know, it's interesting because I meet people in very distinct camps. They're either, you know, full on natural, just doing it in their own strength and not using any of the Jedi privileges we have as a believer. But then there's also this other group that are full on hardcore, you know, like meditate for, you know, 21 hours a day and they never actually go in the marketplace and never do anything. So they're like, you know, almost like spiritually redundant because of the way they view things. And so that's why I wanted this question, because a lot of conflict around that. So I'm going to answer it by telling you how I do it. I'm going to tell you how I do it because I find that that's the most practical way I can say. Have I got a monopoly on how to do it? No, I would say, but this is what we do. So when I sit down and plan out my quarter, so we typically do quarterly and yearly plans, I will set 3 levels of profit goals. In fact, I'll do 3 levels of profit goals, a turnover goals, number of customers goals. So I have 3 levels for whatever sprint I'm working on. If it's a 90-day sprint, I'll have 3 levels for that. So your question was around profit. So the way I would do it is I would go, this is my baseline profit target, okay? And that's the one that I know that I can do by working hard. Like I just know, like it doesn't require too much. That's if I push everything, with what I know, that's my, like, if I hit that, I'll be happy. I won't be ecstatic, I'll be happy. Then I set a middle one, which is actually if I really, really, really push myself and I go really hard at this, then it's the second level. I'll set this profit target. And then I set a third one and I allow for the Lord, for the entire kingdom to back what I'm doing and bring me something even higher, okay? So I kind of go, you know, happy, great, ecstatic, and then I basically hold the last one out before the Lord. And so here's my reason for this. See, in a strange way, I expect that the kingdom will get behind me and that there'll be some level of super on top of my natural. You know, somewhere between, you know, the second and the third one is where it's going to come in. And it's not because I'm some spoiled brat that thinks, having tons of money and all this stuff is my birthright from being a son of the king. I'm not interested in that prosperity rubbish. I'm convinced that the kingdom wants to get behind me and produce that because my whole worldview is make a little bit of money, set my family up, and give the rest away to benefit society. So every single bit that comes in that's over and above can always go to somebody else. It can go towards putting on another massive event to help and train people, or it can go here, or whatever it programs that we as a family are funding. So that's why, because it's not about me, I expect that the kingdom moves. And having done this for a long time, it happens every single time. When I'm diligent, when I'm focused, when I bring my natural A game, then there is some super that gets added onto the top. And it's a phenomenal way to go because you do not get bragging rights to your own success. You just don't get full of pride because you know that the best bit, the bit on the end, the biggest gain, the upside, was not through your own effort. And that is beautiful.
Jay asks, as a new business, we've been told from a few people to not take any profit from your business for the first 12 months. But we want to start paying our personal debt before the first 12 months. Is there a time frame? Should we wait?
Jay, great question. It's a big dilemma, right? You're starting in business and you've got some personal debt maybe from the past, and then you make a bit of a profit. What do you do with that? Because it's basically this: take it out of the business and pay down your debt and jeopardize the business, or put it back into the business, don't pay down the debt and feel like you've got a bit of a heavy weight behind you. If you've watched this show for long enough, I'm not anti-debt in every situation. I mostly am, but not in every situation. And I guess I would have to know the exact numbers to know. But I think obviously you've got to honor your debt and understand that during the time that any of us have any kind of debt, then we're basically signing up and agreeing to being a slave to the lender. The Bible's very clear, the borrower is slave to the lender. So anytime we sign up for debt, we have to at least know that that's what we're signing up for. There is actually a spiritual bondage that takes place, okay? So that's that, but you're already in debt. So what do we do with this? Well, my concern, I see so many businesses fail or they get to a certain point and just spin their wheels forever, that I would say the smartest move is to obviously make your minimum payments on your debts, but use the profit to grow the business. Put the profit back in, as long as it's going into smart things. And the number one smart thing is buying more customers. If the profit goes into buying more customers and also employing staff members and doing stuff that builds the business, then that's going to build the business so fast that the debt will be insignificant. Okay. The trap is, do you have the discipline to take the profit and use it on something that's going to be smart? Because if you don't and you're using it on dumb stuff, then you end up with nothing, a bad business and a bigger debt because interest on top. So you've got to look at the actual intricacies, but I would say that, if you've had debt for years, then what's 12 more months while you put the money back in the business, build it up, and 10 times your revenue, 10 times your profit, then you pay that thing out down the line. And so forth. Now, if you're uncomfortable with black or white, my two options, then I would say to you this: if you're going to apportion, pay the minimum interest payment on the debt, and if you wanted to pay a little bit more just to have the satisfaction of paying off some principal, then that's fine. But the large majority of your profit needs to go back into the business. That's the only way to play in the gray area. I would take a little bit and pay it off to make me feel confident that we're paying off our debt. But the lion's share of the profit's got to go back in. If it goes back into the business, you can do smart things with it and you'll be a much bigger business. Remember, every dollar that you take out of your business is a dollar that cannot be multiplied by putting it back in. So I understand there's debt and you may want to honor that. But if it were me, if I've had debt for 3, 4, 5 years, I would roll the dice for one more in this situation, and I would put the money and the profit back in and build the business and then pay the debt down the line. And maybe you only have to put it in for 3, 4, 5 months before you start to get a really big upside in your profit and you can start to pay that thing down, okay? But every dollar out is a dollar that you cannot put back in and multiply. Let's go to Word of the Week. All right, this week we're going to go to Proverbs. Nice little cheeky one in Proverbs. Proverbs 12:9. Proverbs 12:9. And it reads this: better to be a nobody and yet have a servant than pretend to be somebody and have no food. All right? Better to be a nobody and have a servant than to pretend to be somebody and have no food. I want to talk a little bit into this fake it till you make it culture that we have around us right now. You know, you've only got to look at Instagram now and you see that it's the fakest world in history. You know, everybody's gorgeous. Everybody, eats the most amazing food. Everybody's flying private jet. Everybody, has got the most amazing suntan. It's just the biggest joke ever. We live in a very, plastic world in that regard. And in business, I see so many people that they just essentially buy things they cannot afford to impress people they don't really like. They've all got the right brands on. They're all going on holidays in where you're meant to go. And they've all got cars they can't really afford. The tradies are buying the brand new Amarok and the Hiluxes and all those things to look like they're a proper business. And yet behind there's no real business there. It's like on the hope that one day it catches up, okay? And so then people go, well, you act like you one day want to be or something like that. I'm like, no. Fake it till you make it is not an external materialistic thing. It's between the ears. You convince yourself that you're an amazing entrepreneur until you are one. It's not about buying the stuff around you. All right, you're better off just to be in the back blocks building a business than you are trying to put a show on that you're a business person, hoping that your business then catches up, okay? It's too easy. It's instant gratification now to be buying the stuff, to be seen with the nice watches and all the things. That everybody I meet that does that, it's 50-50 if their business ever takes off. For the people that are just like behind the scenes doing their business, grinding it out, running Facebook ads, Instagram ads, employing people, getting smarter, learning business ways, those people that you don't hear, that aren't posing on the outside, they just build a business and they have a much higher rate of success. So I kind of want to say to you, where are you putting out a facade, even small, to get people to see that you're somewhat serious? I reckon it's a big trap. I reckon all of the energy that goes into trying to look like I'm a business person should just go towards building a business behind closed doors. Then, of course, what happens is when you build a great business and then you put up and start making videos or Instagram photos, then people actually take you seriously because you've got a business. You've got runs on the board. And that's going to give you way more influence than trying to fake it with external things, trying to get the attention of the marketplace. It simply doesn't work. That's it for this week's episode. I'll see you next week. Bye for now.